to the press. Just I'm going to be very short, I think, today. The budget 2010 showed income, if I can recall correctly, of approximately 320 million, expenditures of 320 million. The whole issue with the CFT was reference to a 52 million income projected by the island territory, which would have been income coming from the federal government. Now, if the Commissioner of Finance adjusted the budget 2010 based on the CFT concerns, which from the newspaper reports, you can conclude that that was done. You're talking approximately 16% less income than what was projected in the budget 2010, which was the budget that was presented in December. Strange enough, the Commissioner announced that the public debate on the budget will take place on March 22nd. But the Commissioner did not mention if any Central Committee meeting is going to take place prior to this public debate. The budget that was presented in December went through several rounds of Central Committee. At a given moment when the Democratic Party saw that we were not getting out of it and this thing was not making no sense, we allowed the budget, based on the discussions with the chairman of the Central Committee, to have the final report and send it on for public debate. If in the event now the Executive Council has made a major change to the budget, which we are still waiting to see, receive documentation pertaining to this matter, but from newspaper reports you can conclude that if this major change has been made, whereby the 52 million as recommended by the CFT has been eliminated from the budget, then as a Democratic Party we believe that the draft budget that as it is right now, the one of last week Tuesday approved by the Executive Council, should come back to the Central Committee for the Central Committee to review where these cuts were made, which other items within the whole running of country in 2010 will be affected before a meeting of the Island Council take place to debate the budget. The law says that the budget is an island ordinance, and an island ordinance must be handled by the Central Committee before it is sent to the Island Council for public debate. In this case, a budget is just not a piece of document whereby, for example, if you have an island ordinance and you want to make amendments to the island ordinance in an Island Council meeting, where you change one line or two lines or change a wording, that is something else. Here you're talking about a change in approximately 16% of the total income and expenditures of the budget 2010, and I hope that the chairman who convenes meetings of the Island Council will realize that by convening a meeting of the Island Council to discuss the 2010 budget without going through the process of having a Central Committee discussion again on the new draft will be totally conflicted with the good governance that we always talk about. This is something that I believe as a Democratic Party we will not just sit back and simply accept that the Executive Council come in on March 22nd and say we're changing this and we're changing that and we make an amendment here. It's not going to work like that. That budget needs to come back to the Island Council, to the Central Committee. I know there's pressure on government for them to get the budget passed, but the damage has already been done. The moment that the CFT sent the letter in early March to the State Secretary for Kingdom Relations indicating that St. Martin doesn't have a budget in place, and that in the event that St. Martin does not have a budget in place by a particular date, for her to give St. Martin, the government of St. Martin, an instruction, the damage is already done. By now going to try to push a meeting of the Island Council without any clarity on what numbers, what figures are changing on a budget of 320 million. You're talking 16% of the total budget being amended. I think it's irresponsible of the Executive Council to push this matter that far. So we will await to see what is going to happen this week. But again, we are already sounding the alarm, especially to the chairman of the Island Council, that if they want to practice good governance, that they should carefully look at this process in terms of sending the budget directly to the Island Council. And first, he should make sure that the budget has been discussed in the Central Committee, and then once he receives the final go-ahead from the chairman of the Central Committee, then we can go ahead to an Island Council meeting. There is no reason why a Central Committee meeting cannot be held, because if changes to the budget were done on last week Tuesday, which would have been March 9th, if I can recall correctly, you had the whole week of last week. You have this whole week that you could have convened meetings of the Central Committee, and you